the rest of the people were Kenyan, and I didn't experience that. I did not experience colorism back home. I did not experience that until I came here, and I, as a child, as 15, 16 years old.
You went through a place where the melanated skin wasn't celebrated. They just started celebrating it like 4 or 5 years ago. You feel like there's even a much bigger calling for you for the things that you've actually been through.
Right, I feel like there's a much bigger calling. You know, I feel like this is a start. We are all loved, you know, like I know that it don't seem like it sometimes, but there's people out there that truly, truly care about you. And it took me so long to realize that.
With a small drop in yield, only minor dents seems to
All right, so welcome to Flyshikis TV. We are the only Afro media channel that is focused on unifying Africans and people of the diaspora. Man, let me tell you, today on this episode, we have an important guest on this show today. I mean, let me tell you, I can't wait. I have a lot of questions that I want to ask you. She's a stylist. She's a fashion model, somebody that's actually made a fashion statement in the fashion industry. So Miss Nyakim, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's so great to be here.
Thank you so much for coming. So like I said, you know, I have a lot of questions that I do want to ask you. Right. Before we jump into that, you know, can you tell those that do not know who you are? And honestly, I don't even know who don't know you, but we're just gonna leave that to them, you know. But for the small population
that don't know,
exactly, that don't know what social media or whatever they've been under the rock, wherever they've been at, let them know who Nyakim is.
All right, so my name is Nyakim Gatwech. I am originally from South Sudan, and I'm African, originally from South Sudan. Was born in Ethiopia, grew up in Kenya, from a refugee camp in Ethiopia to another refugee camp in Kenya. And then my family migrated to United States when I was 15 years old. So since then, you know, I've been here. I went to school here. I went to middle school, went to college, got my degree on elementary education. But like you said earlier, I just always feel like my calling was bigger than getting a degree and working at a classroom or working at a farms or working at an office. I feel like I had a voice. I always knew I had the voice, but I just didn't know in what way can I use that voice to speak up. So I decided that I love modeling. I love fashion. I love makeup. I love hair, you know, so I was like, so why not give, you know, this dream of mine, this passion that I had for modeling, for fashion for so long, why not give that a shot? So I went ahead and started pursuing modeling from age of 16. But of course, you know, God had different plan for me. It was always a no after no after no. When I graduated high school, I was 17 years old, moved to New York City to try to get signed with an agency. It was a no. It's like, nope, we can't do it. We can't do it. So at some point in my life, I thought that like, wow, am I reaching too high? Am I reaching too high? Can I even do this? Am I pretty enough to go in this industry, you know? So I went back home to Minnesota, decided to go to school, got my degree on elementary education. As I was working, I realized that like, I'm not happy with this. So I picked up modeling again, you know, but this time I told myself I'm gonna do it as a hobby, you know? So then I decided to go ahead and start pursuing modeling as a hobby. And from there on, my social media blew up. And then I find myself becoming an inspirational person without even intending to, you know? So I find myself having a platform where I can use my voice, where I'm out here, you know, being able, like, I could say something and people could listen, you know? So I feel like it turned out way better than I would expect it. Because if I would have just been signed and I could have just been working, but I felt like the way that they went, I felt like I had to create my own lane. I felt like I had to create my own road, and that's through social media. And yes, that's just a little bit about me, you know, my work and my background.
Wow, that's a lot. Like, man, no, seriously, it's just, I mean, so let me just go back. So what does modeling actually mean to you?
At first, it was like, I'm this beautiful girl. I want to put on some beautiful clothes, some gowns, some hair, makeup, and do photo shoot, walk the runway. That was my idea of modeling. The more I'm in it right now, it's bigger than that. You know, I feel like modeling to me right now is inspiring little Black girl or all type of Black people, dark skin to light skin, inspiring them to stand in their truth, being comfortable in who they are and loving themselves. I feel like that's what modeling is to me right now. I'm not just a runway model, I'm a role model. And I'm so glad that my career has lead into that, where I'm seeing myself like, I want to have a program where, you know, we having these conversations, you know, we sit here and talk, because I might be okay, and I am okay with who I am right now. I'm comfortable with who I am. I'm comfortable with my background. I'm comfortable with my skin color. But there's lots of little Black girls out there that are going through what I've went through, if it's not worse, you know? So I feel like if there was somebody like me telling me, I've been through that and I'm doing this now, and you can any day, you know? So I felt like that would have made it easier for me to go ahead and pursue. I'm 29 years old right now, you know? It took me so long to actually be like, forget what people say about my skin color. Right. Forget people discriminating against me. Forget Black people, you know, all of the colorism that I receive in my community. I'm gonna go ahead and pursue my dream because I know that's what I always wanna do. It took me so long. It took me until I was 25, you know, about 4 or 5 years ago. That's when I went for it fully. So modeling right now, it's more than just runway. It's more than just fashion. It's more than just makeup and hair. It's, you know, it's a platform for me to make a difference in somebody else's life in a way, in some small change, you know? Wow.
I feel like there's definitely, I like the narrative that how you flip the coin and made it your own, that you're not just a model, you're a role model. And I think that, and, you know, before we started this, you know, I was like, I feel from a distance, you know, just watching you from a distance, I feel like you being put in the things that you went through, which we're going to dive a little deeper into it. I feel like there was a reason why that was made for you, because you know, so you can become who you are today, so people can aspire. Because I don't know too many people that can actually withstand the things that you went through. Right. So let's get into it. So when did you start modeling actually?
So, okay. When I came to America, I was 15 years old. So we stayed in Buffalo, New York. And I said, I want to be signed. I want to be model. So
straight, just like that.
Straight up. I'm like, I knew that.
I like that.
That was in me. You know, my sister said, slow your roll. You got to go to school. You got to graduate high school. You know, you need to get your education before you jump straight to this. So then I didn't do it right away because my sister, you know, so after I finished middle school, went to high school, right? So my sister was like, okay, well, my sophomore year of high school, she's like, okay, go ahead and try to see with agencies. Like, go give this a shot. So in 2009, I went to New York City, and, you know, I just booked a flight there. I went there, I went to these different agencies. And then after the week, and then I flew back to Minnesota, you know, because I couldn't afford to stay there. So I'm hoping, crossing my finger to try to hear back from them, and nothing. So when people say, when did you start modeling? I knew that if things would have went my way, if God would have I would have been like 10, 20 years ago, you know? But now, like, I felt like modeling clicked or became like a career about 4 or 5 years ago, you know? So it's a passion of mine that I always wanted to do since I was 16, but because of life, you know, life hardship hitting you from right to left to side and front, it didn't really happen for me until 4 or 5 years ago.
Wow. Now, would you say, did you do any kind of modeling work back when you were in Africa?
No, I didn't. The first thing, I did not at all. The first thing that I've seen when modeling was my sister came to America in 1999 she was a teen. She was 18 years old, my older sister. So she got into a little bit of modeling, doing local fashion shows in Buffalo, New York. So she, you know, when family relatives send you like photo albums, so she sent pictures of her in the runway and some photo shoot to us just to see. And then I've seen that picture. I still have that picture in my mind right now. Like, I was like, I want to do that. Whatever that is, all these people staring at you, because she was, you know, it was on the runway, she was on the top, and there was a bunch of people like just look. I didn't know what to call it. I didn't know what it was, but I'm like,
you just knew you need to be there.
I just knew that I needed to be there. And then the process was so long. I didn't come to America, you know, until years ago. But that was the first time that I've seen a sign of, you know, because I didn't have TV. I live in a refugee camp, you know, didn't have TV, magazines, social media, none of that. So I didn't have access to see Naomi Campbell or Tyra Banks, or, you know, during their time of modeling when I was young, 7, 8, 9, until I came to America. So I felt like I had it in me, and then life happened, and I was like, okay, you know what? Models are supposed to be these beautiful people. And the fact that a lot of people made me feel like I'm not beautiful, and I started to believe that I wasn't beautiful as well. And then I was like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna model anymore. You know, I pushed that thought out of my mind. because I felt like I didn't deserve it. I felt like I wasn't the beauty standard, that I'm not the beautiful girl that you see on the cover of Vogue magazine, you know? I didn't see that back then. So I didn't think that I was capable. I didn't think so. I just like, I guess this was a dream that I had as a kid. It's nothing gonna come out of it. Let me get my degree, get a job, get a decent living, make a decent living, get married, have kids, call it a day.
Right.
You know? So
Definitely.
that's what I thought. And then something in me just kind of woke me. Something in me was like, no. You knew you wanted to do this. Just because, you know, work on yourself. So I started working on loving myself and my self-love, building a community around me that accepted me for who I was, and started working, started talking to therapists, started talking to people about, you know, my self-hate. And then after that, bam, I went ahead and give modeling a shot again. But this time I was like, I'm not going to get signed, right? Until this day, I'm not signed. It's crazy, you know? So I was like, I'm not going to get signed. So what other way can I go about this? Okay, you love creating content. You're a content creator. You love putting beautiful look together. So why couldn't you just continue doing that as a hobby? Because when I'm in the front of the camera, there's this light that just come out of me that I don't even know. You know, I just get so excited and so happy, and I feel like I belong. So after that, I started doing it as for fun, as a hobby, you know?
Right.
Come out of it.
Wow. So you
anytime you get, please stop me, because I could talk for days.
No, please. No, I actually I enjoy that a lot, you know, like you sharing that, because, you know, one of the things that I guess, you know, I want to get out of this interview is that I want people to really get to know who you are, the things that you actually went through, because it's so motivational, you know, like your life is so inspiring that, you know, like so please feel free. Now, you stated in one of your most recent interviews or your post that you were mostly bullied by African Americans. Can you please like elaborate that more to me?
Right. So when we first came to America, we stayed in Buffalo, New York. My family and I stayed in Buffalo, New York. And you know, there was not that many African in Buffalo or Sudanese at that point. It was my mom and my sister family, and then maybe one other family, you know? And at the time, you know, I was 15. So of course I was signed up. I went to 8th grade. So I started middle school, and I was just so excited to meet other students, learn English, you know, learn. And it's so weird how as soon as I started school, the kids that were laughing at me, and as I'm walking down the hallway, would literally turn around or walk so far from me, were Black people. At first, I didn't understand. And I'll go to the cafeteria and I'm like, hi, my name is Nyakim, try to come and sit next to them. And they will all get up and leave the cafeteria table and go to another table, feeling like you're so disgusted we can't sit next to you because, you know, you're not beautiful. So, and it was just, it was so, at first I didn't know what it was. I was like, why is other Black people making fun of me? We're literally one and the same. We're the same people. And then come to find out, you know, like the more research I did on it, or the more I've came to understand is this whole colorism thing in the Black community, right? My own sister had bleached her skin color when she came to America because she wanted to fit into this beauty standard, because she herself has went through self-hate and self-doubt and feeling like she didn't belong. So she bleached her skin to feel like she could belong. So I thought that that's what I would have to do. You know, I'm so grateful and so blessed for her, because she didn't want that right for me, you know? She's like, not gonna make you happy at the end. But I was like, so if my own Black people are making fun of me, like what can I change to fit in? Maybe if I bleach my skin and my complexion become a little bit like yours, I'll be accepted, you know, by them and then by the rest of the world. So it was so outrageous and just amazing to me to see how I could be bullied by Black, because I grew up in Africa, right? I lived in Ethiopia, I lived in Kenya, and I'm always been the darkest person in the room, right? Everywhere I go, and the rest of the people were Kenyan, and I didn't experience that. I did not experience colorism back home. You know, my neighbors were Ethiopian, my neighbor were Kenyan, and they always, you know, like lighter than me, you know? So as I did not experience that until I came here, and I, as a child, as 15, 16 years old, they're trying to learn, a teen, they're trying to learn English, just trying to fit in, they're trying to be happy. It took a lot out of me. Like, it got me to a point that I was so depressed. I thought about hurting myself. I thought about bleaching myself. I thought about I didn't belong, you know, and then there was no one I could talk to that could understood how I was feeling. So it was so, because if a white person is racist to you, right? or made a racist comment. You're like, okay, you're white, I'm black, we're not the same people. It makes sense.
Right.
But when a black person make a race, it's not even racist. What is that? Colorism comment toward you?
Yeah, colorism.
It was mind blowing from a child point of view, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's well, that's crazy, by the way. You know, I was born and raised in Africa myself, and you know, coming here, you know, going to school, I experienced, I saw, you know, that disconnect between Black Americans and Africans, you know, and definitely, and I always, a huge gap, and it's crazy because that's what this channel is actually about. This channel is all about unifying us, because from my research that I've done, it's about what the media portray of the Black Americans to Africans, and also like vice versa. I think that, you know, obviously like that psychologically, you know, like it plays a huge role into, you know, like creating that disconnect between us. You know, where in actuality, we are actually one. You know, we share the same history, the same skin color, the same identity. So in you growing up, coming here, like, how did you cope with that kind of energy, you know, being portrayed towards you? How did you go through that?
Yeah, so at first, like I told you, I tried to cry myself to sleep, right? At first, I tried a way to go about it is just stay to myself, stay away from myself. Stay away from anybody, don't make any friends, because they don't like you, they will never like you. Just be by yourself. And then as time passed by, like that, my mom saw how affected that, how that was affecting me, that she moved my whole family to Minnesota. So we could be around people that share this, that look like me, Sudanese people. So I could, you know, so I'm not this little depressed girl that's in a room 24/7. So I'm around, so I could be able to make friends with other people that look like me. So that's what started it. So when we moved to Minnesota, what I started doing is start building community around me that accept me for who I was, right? And in that community involved, it was mostly African at first. I was like, I don't even think I could communicate with African-American, or I don't even know if I can ever be friends with African-American, right? That's a 16, 17-year-old girl. So I started making friends with my, you know, people that were from Africa that knew, of course I know Sudanese people have a deep complexion. Oh, you're from Kenya. Yeah, you know, you're brown. And then there's some light-skinned Nigerian, and there's some Nigerian that look like me, you know?
Right, definitely.
They're from the same country. Some of them be really, really light, and some of them, you know, look like me. Right. So I started building that community, was friend with Somalian, just friend with, you know, other people, other African that would not look at me and be like, oh my God, where you from? Why you look like that, you know? Right. So when I started building that community, then I started working on my self-love, right? So when I was completely okay with Nyakim and who she is and what she brings to the table and her background, and just remembering the happy child I was from a refugee camp, from nothing, like not once before I came to America did I ever question my happiness, did I ever question my skin color? Not once. I was this happy child that knew the background, that knew where she come from, and have an idea where she's going, you know? Right. So I had to remind myself of who that girl was and who that girl still is. She is deep down inside. So when I bring that girl out, now, when in college, you know, I started making friends with African-American, and I started speaking to them, you know, and then because there was this one conversation that I had with one of the girls in my classroom, and, you know, he was like, wait, some of them generally don't have any idea that people could be as dark as me, literally, you know, some of them really don't, like you said. So she was sitting there, and then we just started having conversation about Black people, African culture, African-American, how we all in one. So I just started seeing, before I even went viral, I started seeing myself educating whoever I can about my background, about why I look the way I look, about where I come from, about the whole continent of Africa. We come in all different colors and sizes, and, you know, so it came to like some of them generally have no clue. You know, when you think about some African-American in America, they think about Africa, Nigeria, and Ghana, right? And so it's like, that's what so I'm like, but Africa it's a big continent. And, you know, I'm from this part of it. I'm from the east part of it, and I'm Sudanese, and my people look like this. And even within the Sudan, there's some Arab people that, you know, are very light skinned, that, you know, we share the same country, but we have really two different culture, and we all look different. So I felt like when I educated myself and I was comfortable in my own skin, that's when I was able to have those conversations with, you know, the people that I feel like couldn't understand me, or maybe some of them just didn't know anything about me, my background or anything about maybe something that I've never heard about South Sudan before, you know? So it was, that was the way I did that, you know? So I worked on me first, and then I was like, okay, now I might hear ignorant comments in the process, which I have. You know, there was an African-American man that asked me about bleaching my skin for $10,000. That was some ignorant ass thing to say, right? You asking me that if somebody was giving you $10,000, would you bleach your skin color? So I'm like, why? Oh, so you could fit in, so life would be easier for you because life is easier for lighter people, right? And he's not lying. That's true. You know, there's this steps tool, right? That is like the lighter you are, the easier life is, the more opportunity we have, and the darker you are, the less desirable you are, the less opportunity you have. That is a mindset that was given to us for so long, so many years, that I feel like as Black people, we got to change that. We got to look at each other at once, so we don't need to fit into this, you know?
Yeah, not definitely. Even goes back to like, you know, like racism back in the day where it's like, you know, the lighter skins were called house
girl. Like they work in the house because, you know, they
inside.
viable.
Exactly.
Brothers, they outside.
They outside in the field, like, you know, picking cottons and stuff. And you know, like, and that's all part of the media narration that has created that disconnect. And I just like this story that you just said, and I feel like it goes back to you saying that you feel like you were actually a role model as to just a fashion model because you started educating people about who you are, and people started understanding. And sometimes, you know, people are just ignorant, you know, just because they don't have the right information, or there's an information that's been passed on to them and they just took it and they just ran with it. They just don't know anything. So do you feel like, and if you've already answered this, and I just want to get a deeper understanding, do you feel like this is more of like a calling, like there's a bigger calling? Do you feel like you're actually walking in that calling, or you feel like there's even a much bigger calling for you for the things that you've actually been through?
Right. I feel like there's a much bigger calling. You know, I feel like this is a start. This is me to get myself out there and people know about me. But I feel like there's a much bigger calling. Like, you know, this little girl that saw that picture of her sister in a refugee camp in Kenya. How many little girls are out there that was like, I wish I could have an opportunity to live my dream as a model, or as an, you know, an actress, or as a, you know, blogger, whatever the case is. How many little girls are out there that have that dream? I feel like there's a bigger calling. I feel like I'm meant to do something with this. If this means owning my own agency and going back home and scouting these girls and giving them opportunity to come back here and living their dream, I just know that my modeling day will be over. But I feel like in this industry, I'm meant to do something big with this platform, voice that I have, you know, I'm meant to do something big. And that's the goal. The goal is like eventually have an agency where I have connection with agencies here in New York and in London and in Paris. And I was like, I'll scout these girls from back home, you know, from refugee camp. And just be like, scout these beautiful girls and be like, okay, bam, boom, you go to LA, you go to New York, you work for 3 months, you know, and then you make your own connection there, whatever the case is. Like, if somebody had that opportunity for me when I was back home, like, it would have been a dream come true. But I feel like the fashion, the modeling industry in Africa, I feel like that's for sure. But I feel like some part of Africa, like, is something that we need to tap into. We're not tapping that deep yet, you know? But I feel like, and it's up to us, the Africans in America, to bring the fashion world back home as heavy as we can, you know? There's a lot of us that are doing amazing things, but I feel like that was one of the things that I'm so passionate about, just giving these little girls opportunity. Because I get messages every day like, hi, I live in Kenya, I want to start modeling. Hi, I live in here, how do I start? It's like, imagine if I could just be like, I got you, you know, I'm gonna do this for you. Come and, you know, like, I know how to.
Creating that platform, exactly. You've lived that, right. I definitely think that you definitely have like a legacy, a huge legacy. And like you said, probably like, you know, just created that platform that would be easier for, you know, people coming from, you know, all, you know, different parts of Africa coming here, because you've been through that. You're able to actually also even help them with their confidence level, because you went through that you built yourself and you're solid now. You know who you are. Like, Black is gold, Black is original. And it's just crazy to me, like, that it's almost like how do you celebrate a photocopied version than the original version? Like Black is original.
It's original.
It beats my mind every day, honestly. Like, but you know, obviously when we're young, you know, I didn't really understand it. And, you know, I also had to go through my own life to educate myself more. Like, man, I am a king. You know what I mean? Like, we're queens. We're solid. We're the original people, you know? So now, what would you say, right? I feel like, you know, you've definitely lived both sides of the world. What I mean by that is you went through a place where the melanated skin wasn't celebrated, right? I feel like they just started celebrating it like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, 2015, 2016, 17.
Right. So I feel like you've lived both sides where, you know, you came where it was no love at all. You know, there's so Black shame and, you know, colorism was like in full effect. It's still there, but now, you know, there's more like awareness because social media, you know, a lot of people are able to, right. So what is, now, first of all, how did Queen of the Dark come about? I love that name. You know what? I feel like it's like a movie, right? There's a movie, there's a show on Netflix called Queen of the South. So whenever I hear that,
Queen of the Dark show.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Or why not? You know, like we need to tap, you know, Netflix needs to tap in now.
We need
like,
to tap in. Just the title alone, it's amazing. But this was the way Queen of the Dark came about in 2017 when I was going viral. You know, the people I was going viral because of my skin color, of course, and I was you know, expressing self-love, you know, being comfortable in your own skin, you know, just love. So I keep saying I'm a queen and I love my dark skin. That's what I keep saying. I'm like, I'm a queen and I love my dark skin and you can't tell me otherwise. That would be my captions or my hashtag would be like queen, loving my dark skin, all these hashtags about, you know. So, and then this was the time that dark skin was popping, we're talking about it, still popping, but more people were talking about it. And then there was a lot of articles going on about, you know, like my stories, my background, where I came from, how I came to America, and, you know, my life journey. So one day I was on Twitter, and it was one of my articles that I did with another blogger. And but the caption, the title said, "Oh, Nyakim Gatwech has recently been nicknamed Queen of Dark." I was like, "Oh, by who?" So I clicked, like, by who?
Whoa.
But I was like, okay, who is this Queen of Dark? And then I clicked on the article and I read the article. Obviously, the article is talking about my stories and me as preaching self-love and just, you know, encouraging little Black girls to follow their dream no matter what. And so I was like, but the name was so catchy. So I was like, I love this name. So I just embrace it. I just embrace it. I put on my bio. I started saying that I'm the Queen of Dark. And then even there was so many negative comment that came out of that, people were calling me, you know what Queen of Dark is? Like, that means you're evil. I'm like, why Dark gotta be evil though?
It's crazy.
Why does Dark gotta associate?
It's crazy. Even when you look at, like, and I don't mean to cut you, like, even, you know, when you have like a cat that is Black, right? Automatically they think that, like, oh, that's evil. You got to get that out of your house and stuff. It's like, yo, why?
That energy. Why? I literally beautiful, shiny Black. Like, I'm like, that's not why is that all of a sudden? My own auntie called me and we had like a 2-hour conversation about that nickname. She's telling me that I think this would affect you. You shouldn't accept this name. They're saying that you're evil. I'm like, they're saying you're evil. Did you not see the Queen? Queens are evil. I don't think Queen means evil. So
definitely not.
Yeah, but that's how it became about. I just saw an article. I was down on Twitter and I just saw an article, and then from there on, I embrace it. I trademark it, and I'm like, it's my identity. You know, it's part of my name. Yeah.
Shout out to whoever that blogger is.
Whoever created it.
Definitely. I like.
And I feel like they got it from, you know, when you go my captions on Instagram, you know, self-love, you know, being a queen, African queen, and my dark skin. So they just put two and two together. Yeah,
it's a dope combination. Now, let me go off a little bit, right? So, what are your thoughts on the situation with the Professor Lieberman and the thread of tweets that, you know, claimed that you were the darkest person on Earth? What are your thoughts on that?
So the rumor that went on that I was the darkest person on Earth came about in 2020. And when that rumor came about, I was like, this is ridiculous. You know, I'm like, how on earth can they determine or know who's the darkest person or who's the lighter person on Earth is, you know? So that's why I was like, this is just a rumor. So, but it went on, like people just kept sharing it and following me and sharing it. And I was getting all these following from it. And I'm like, but can't be true. So eventually they went ahead and post, the Guinea World Record post saying that, oh, Nyakim is like, it's not. They confirmed that it's a rumor. So I was like, okay, they cleared out, everything is done. And then about 2 years later, it's still going on. It's people, they still sharing it until today. So I felt like I had to speak out and tell people this is not true. This is outrageous. I know there's no way that anyone could determine who's the darkest person in the world and who's the lightest person. So this is just a rumor, and I would appreciate it if people just, don't stop spreading this rumor out. So at first I was just confused, It didn't really affect me. I wasn't like hurt by it, or I wasn't offended by it. I was just like, this is some ridiculous, statement. Somebody's making a ridiculous statement. But that's literally was my feeling on that. And now, since I made that comment, I feel like maybe it cleared out, because I didn't speak on it for the past 2 years, because I felt like since they spoke on it, I thought that would have just, let the rumor die down. But about the tweet that Dr. Lieberman made, I knew that his intention was pure. I feel like he was trying to give me a compliment, but he chose the wrong word. And the word that he chose is very racist, right? I don't think that a black doctor, if they see my picture and wanted to share it, I don't think they would choose the word freak of nature, right? But definitely. Because he's a white doctor, and I knew that it might have come from a good place, but somehow without even knowing, you was being racist, right? Yeah. For me, like I said before, it did not affect me. I wasn't so hurt, oh my God, but I know the feeling, because I have been in position where I've been told, you this, you're that, you're freak, you look like under the bed, you're so ugly, you this.
That's crazy.
I've been told all these things before. And at that point of that time of my life, that affected me. It affected me to the point that it led me to a depression. It led me to trying to harm myself. It led me to a mental, and just not being here, not being present. I was all up. So imagine if you saying this freak nation to a little girl, little Nyakim,
I've been thinking about that.
I can't imagine. And she Google, the definition of freedom nation, and I even get emotional about it. Not because, because I'm like, it's not okay to dehumanize a human being just because of the color of their skin.
Right.
Can't do nothing about it. It's definitely not okay. He chose the wrong word, and I'm so grateful that I had a whole community, a Black community that was behind me, that was willing to fight that battle for me before I even find out about this tweet. And this tweet can affect another little Black girl somewhere else in Africa, in Atlanta, in anywhere. They see this tweet and they're like, oh my God, if this doctor is calling Queen of Doug, this whole supermodel freak of nature, how about me?
Definitely.
I'm not even known about it, so it's so I felt like that was the reason why I felt like I had to speak up on it. Otherwise, I could have just brushed it off my shoulder, because I've heard so many negative on my skin color, and I build a tough skin. I have a tougher skin now. Where, I'm like, what? If this doesn't affect me, go this year. But that was racist comment, and I felt like I'm happy that I'm addressing it. Even though I know it's coming from a good place. But the wrong word, and that's the reason you chose those words. There's a reason, and that I feel like.
Wow, your answer is so pure. I just feel like, us Black people, we've been through so much that we don't want to take no ish from nobody, so at any slightest thing, even if it may be coming from a good place, we're like, nah, we're coming from you, you know what I'm saying? Because this is over 400 years.
400 years.
Yeah, exactly. So we're at a point where we don't want to take anything, but I feel like, in a way, from what you're telling me, that it kind of gave you more publicity. Sometimes they say bad marketing is good marketing. I feel like you said, even the Guinness Book of Records, they clarified it. Just the fact that you got there for them to clarify something in itself, to me, that, I'm just an entrepreneur and I'm always thinking business. I feel like that was also a way that it actually gave you more like boost and they came like, who's this person, and got to know who you are and stuff.
It sure did. I'm so grateful for that. Whoever started that rumor, I am a little bit grateful for you.
Right, definitely.
I am grateful for you because it did.
Definitely.
It did boost my social media following. It did, it got a lot of people talking about me, asking about me, knowing who I am, and so it did 100%.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Now, let me just go back to let's go to your your business life a little bit. How do you feel about working with like other photographers? Like photoshopping your image. How do you feel about that?
Yeah. So, and a couple of years ago, about 2017, 18, I was working with this amazing photographer. Like, he's Nigerian, he's wonderful. I love the way he edited my skin.
Pioki?
Pioki, yeah.
Pioki is the name.
Pioki and T-Berry, those two guys from Minnesota. They're both from Nigeria, and I've worked with them.
Dope individuals.
Dope individual. So, but there was one particular couple picture that Pioki was editing. T-Berry was editing my skin, and like people. It went viral. This stuff went viral. People saying that this is Photoshop. Her skin can be that dark, right? So at first I was like, they do got a point. When I was looking at the picture, like, I'm black, I'm dark, but I have like an undertone, it's a blue undertone. My skin does glow, but that particular picture, my skin, it was so matte. It was like jet black matte, So I didn't know how I feel about that. I reached out to him and I was like, hey, like, this is what being said about this picture. Like, he's like, so you want me to make you lighter? I'm like, no, just if you could get it. So I felt like I'd struggle with photographer making me lighter, like really light or really dark. That's been a struggle that I'm like, okay, like, and then when I post a picture, let's say if I'm in the sun, right? And I take a picture on my iPhone and, of course the sun is hitting me.
The sun hitting you, yeah.
It's a problem. She's not dark. She's blonde. She's white. I'm like,
oh my God.
She's not dark. Why? She's over here calling herself Queen of Dark. So I feel like picture. And if I show you picture that I used to post in 2015, 16, when I told you I edited my skin way lighter than you, because I didn't want people to know that I was dark. I would go on this app and like just change my skin color, like I boosted up the filter, make it lighter than what it is, just because I was insecure. And I would post those pictures, and then people would like it and comment, and I would feel good about it. But I look at myself in the mirror and I look at the picture next to me. It's not the same person, So I felt like, even with me taking my own picture, not until a couple of years ago that I'm like, no, I don't need to take lighter picture or edit my picture lighter to be like, I'm okay with, with how I am. So I felt like that has been. But I feel like throughout these couple of years, it got better. I've worked with photographers, even with Tolu Pioki and Tolu T-Berry, it got way better, So another photographer that I work with, I would told you like, hey, I would just appreciate it if you get the pictures close to my skin color, not too dark, not too black, like just try to edit as close as, to my skin color as you can, as possible can. And I felt like that has gotten better. Yeah, but that was a struggle that I had. There's so many pictures I didn't post just because I'm like, this don't look like me. There's so many content that I could have seen. I'd never seen social media until this day because it wasn't edited the way,
Right. Black is a reflection of all colors, so like when I see my fellow Black, sister, brother, it's like we reflect every color.
We do.
So, what I'm saying? When I see that, working, they probably trying to figure out, because, man, your skin color is just original. It's so dope, so, sometimes they just want to make it whatever it is. And I can understand, how
100%,
difficult that could be. I feel like, with time, when people, or what I'll say, like when other photographers, when they're working with you, they probably go on your page and try to look at other works that you've done, try to see that, okay, man, this is maybe like a thread or exactly. Now, what are positive like things where you went through to like promote self-acceptance and body positivity? Like, what are certain things, especially somebody that is watching this right now, what are like ways that you had to withstand? I mean, and honestly, I can't even imagine, I say when you were young, going through that, there are people that will even commit suicide just because of that, because that is a lot to take, especially when you don't really have nobody there actually directing you on how to intake that, how to face it, or, like just basically like in general, since you've been able to find your own way, you know, for somebody that's going through that, what is something that you would share with them?
Exactly. So one thing that have worked for me, and I've always tell anybody that I speak to, is that, like I said again, building that community around you, just being around people that accept you and appreciate you for who you are. And secondly is speaking up, right? When we're going through hard times, we don't want to talk to people because we don't want to be judged. We don't want to be looked at. At first, I didn't even want to let my mom know and my family know I was being bullied because I didn't know how they was gonna react to it. I didn't know they was gonna be like, you're hurt because kids are calling you black. You are black. Like in my mind, I'm like, they'd be like, what's wrong with other kids calling you black when you are?
They're not in school with you, so they can't tell like what you're going through. They can't
tell, yeah, and that, and so it's that. And then again, speaking up to your loved one, you know. And then one thing that worked for me so well was just reminding myself on daily basis how beautiful, how lucky, how amazing, how strong, how, you know, culture, how I am, you know, the type of person I am. What an affirmation. Every morning when I'm getting up, brushing my teeth, look at myself in the mirror until this day, I do it because I feel like it gets me out through the day. Because even though I'm 29 years old and I've been doing this for a long time, I walk out of my apartment, I still get dirty look. I would walk past somebody and they still look at me so dirty. And I was like, it's not because of what I'm wearing or, you know, I smell, it's because of my skin color. And I would just smile and keep it pushing, right? But it's like, so, but if I walk out of this apartment with knowing that I know who I am, I know how much I'm loved, I know how much I love myself, I know how beautiful I am, whatever's out there, like I can take on whatever struggle or whatever comment or whatever criticism I'm gonna get out there because of something that I have no control over. So just having a time in your day to tell yourself how beautiful you are, how lucky you are, because we are all loved, you know, like I know that it don't seem like it sometimes, but there's people out there that truly, truly care about you. And it took me so long to realize that. Now there's almost 1 million people on my Instagram that I've never met that does appreciate me, my skin color, my story, my background. So it could be the same for you. And it will be the same for you, you know? So that's always like, just keep having a positive surrounding, reminding yourself how beautiful you are, and just know that you can accomplish anything despite, you know, what people say about your skin color. Something that you have no control over. That's one thing I always told myself. I have no control over this. I'm not gonna wake up lighter tomorrow. You know, I don't want to wake up lighter tomorrow. I'm okay with this. So if other people are scared or ashamed of it, people are just scared of something different. So if I'm up for it, I'm gonna want to have a conversation, educate them. But otherwise, not. I keep it pushing. I keep walking, smiling their face, and you know. But I know that's not easy. So it started with you. It started. I had a therapist. I talked to someone. You know, when I was younger, I talked to someone. So talking to someone, just opening up, crying, that's okay too. I cry. You know, so it's like. I feel like just being able to open up and just being able to work on your self-love and talk to someone. You can talk to a therapist, talk to your family. If you can talk to your family, talk to your best friend. If you can talk to your best friend, talk to your counselor. You know, whoever you're comfortable with, please opening up your mouth and saying how you're feeling is the first step, you know?
I love it. I love it. That's amazing. And honestly, I look at it as people that actually project that hate are people actually, they don't even like themselves.
Yeah.
You know, some people are just, they're not happy. Exactly. So I feel like they want to project their unhappiness because they see you, you're happy, and they just want to project that on you. So definitely, man, thank you so much for that. So now there was a picture circulating on social media of you with a baby and an albino gentleman, and the rumors were that you were married with a child. Could you tell us, you know, what the picture was about?
So one of my amazing creative photographer named Isaac West. So
Isaac West? Wow,
Isaac,
my name is Isaac.
Your name is Isaac?
I am, yeah.
That's so dumb. His name is Isaac West. He's from Liberia. Of course, he's from Minnesota too. So when he brought this idea up to me of doing this photo shoot, and then again, this was like 2018, 19. This was a time where my main focus, and still is my main focus, but I was going so hard on just promoting body positivity, skin color, promoting how Black people, we come in so many different skin color. So the albino man, boy, he was Liberian. You know, he was from Liberia. He's an African man. So it's like, okay, imagine, because if a albino man and a dark skinned woman like me have a baby, the baby gonna come out like the little baby I was holding, right?
Right.
Because Black come in so many different shades. So the baby that I was holding is lighter than me. The Black man that was standing next to me is an albino, you know, and then I'm dark. So it was just a way to promote skin and beautiful skin color and black beautiful skin color and like this family, right. They're all Black, but they look so different, you know. So imagine if we were family, you know, we look so different, but if you look at the picture, we all Black. We have to share the same bloodline, you know, with Black people. And I thought that was very brilliant, and I was up for it. Went on board. I was like, let's do it. Anything to promote Black skin that come in all different shades. Anything, I'm on board at all times.
Man. Shout out to that photographer. That's actually creative as hell. Yeah. And I feel like it's creative, and it was one of those things that was going to stir up a lot of like questions and rumors, and you know.
It did. Yeah.
Really?
It did.
Wow.
People were like talking about it. People were sending me message, and I don't mind. Like when I put something up and people want to ask questions, I don't mind just going there and, you know, responding. So, and that I felt like that in a way got people like, wow, like this is amazing. I thought it was an amazing idea. Yeah.
And that's a great marketing scheme. Like whatever he did, man. Shout out to him.
He's wonderful. He's very creative. Definitely.
So what made you decide to study nursing, and why did you choose modeling over that?
So I've studied, so since I was a little girl, like, and then again, like if it wasn't modeling, I was so good with kids, right? I was always babysitting my nieces, my nephews, like there's family. My mom is a pastor. So of course, every Sunday I'm at Sunday school with kids in this room with 30, 20 kids, you know, from age 16, 17, because, you know, my mom had a church that she preached at every Sunday. So that was something I did my teenager years. So, and then when I finally got my first job was at a daycare, you know, my first job was at a daycare. So I just thought that in a way, I feel like the teacher in me, the person that want to educate people, however it is, whatever the topic is within me, without even knowing, right? So I feel like, but when you start teaching kids at a young age, because in my classroom, when I was working, the type of question I hear from these second graders about my skin, every morning we sit there in a mat and we talk about Miss Kim's skin color, you know, just to let you like, okay, Miss Kim look like this because of this and that and this, you know. It's like, wow, Miss Kim, why are you so Black? And I just laugh these questions. I feel like when you educate kids at very young age, whatever the topic is, how different we are, how we come in so many different colors, how human being, you know, so somebody have two eyes, two nose, that look just like you, whatever the case is. Just because they have a different skin color from you doesn't make them different from you. It doesn't make them a bad person. So I feel like it was in me in a way without even knowing. So I was like, I just knew that I'm meant to speak either at school, either now, you know, as a model. However, I just knew that I was meant to give lessons and, you know, to educate people in a way. So I thought at first, and I was dating a guy that was a teacher. So
that added more to your lectures and stuff.
Just, you know, he encouraged me to just go to school so we could both go to the same classes and blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, anyway, I love children, so why not?
It fell in line.
It fell, that's right. So I feel like that was, you know, one of the reasons that I felt like, but even though I love teaching, like I knew that I'm not going to reach the capacity that I want to reach teaching, you know, kindergarten. So I was like, this was a different route that God was like, okay, you got more to say? Here you go. I give you this role. Here's social media. Here's Instagram. Because I literally went viral overnight. I went to sleep and I woke up with 30,000 K. Like it was outrageous. It was the most crazy thing ever. I'm like, if that's not God, then I don't know what it is, you know? So I just felt like God was like, you want more. I know you want to do more. So I'm going to give you a way to do more.
Did somebody help you reply to all the DMs?
No.
Really? Oh, you're a hard worker.
It's been all me. That's right. It's been all me. The posting, the caption, and then being on it's been all me. But I enjoyed it. I literally enjoyed it. I felt I was speaking to each one of my followers that ever DM me, asking me questions, me responding them. It sat right with me. I felt like I'm doing the right thing. They're not hearing from one of my team, you know, just be like, oh, this is what Nyakim say, you know. So I at the time, but it became so much that I'm like, okay, I need help, you know.
Wow.
But yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm one of those that like I like to write short captions and I'm done. Like I'm not, You're not about to get like a full sentence out of me.
Yeah,
Like,
that's about it.
you get a like or you get an I heart the
Okay.
message, and yeah, that's it, man. Like, peace. Like, nah, I'm
With
not,
a
I'm
heart.
not doing all that.
With
With a heart,
emoji.
that's it, man. That's all you get from me. Like,
That's
no,
all
you're
you
not about to
get
get a
from
full
me.
sentence. Nah. Wow, that's amazing. How did that make you feel? You know, waking up and seeing that success, like being rolled right in front of you. How did that make you feel?
I just knew it was God way. I pray. I was like, wow. So what? Okay, now show me. What do you want me to do with this? At first I didn't understand. I was like, okay, so I'm going viral. I'm getting all these followers. Okay, that's amazing. I'm getting my picture likes. But how do I go about this? Like, I knew that I love myself. I knew that I'm comfortable with myself, but I didn't think that I should put that in people, in public. I should put that, I should talk about it. I should get vulnerable. I didn't want to get vulnerable for so long. I didn't want to tell people my story. But when the story with the Uber driver happened, when, I was just taking an Uber, and when that happened, something in me just told me, like, at the time it was 2017. I'm like, I cannot believe there's some ignorant Black people at this day and time that still think that I should bleach my skin color to fit in. So something in me just be like, post it. And I posted, I post the story, and then I added my little message that we should be okay with who we are. We should be comfortable with, if you see somebody on the street that don't look like you, don't be afraid just because they look different from you. Wow. Please get to know them first. So when I post that, that's when I realized, like, okay, this is what God wants me to do with this platform. This is what I want to do with this platform, because that story blew up. And then from that story, I allow myself to get vulnerable. I allow myself to let people into my story. I didn't want to talk about how I wanted to kill myself, how I was depressed, how my mom struggled with 6 kids from a refugee camp to refugee camp, not happy. I didn't want people to know that, because there's this pride that we have as humans. But something in me just let it go and just be like, it's okay. This can change somebody else's life. This story can change somebody else's life without even you knowing. So it was, at first it was, but then I don't know, something in me just felt right to just do that.
Wow. So wait, so there's an Uber driver that made a comment about you?
Yeah, so I was, I called Uber in Minnesota, and I was just leaving from Minneapolis to St. Paul. I had a job interview. And this Black man picked me up. I'm just sitting in his car, and we're just driving, and he's looking over the window, like he kept looking back as he's driving, and I'm like, hi, like, you want to say something? You can tell when somebody want to say something. And then he was like, where are you from? I'm like, oh, I'm from South Sudan. He's like, wow, he was very Black. I'm like, I know. I look at myself in the mirror every day. He was like, wow, okay, so people from your country are that Black? I'm like, yeah, some of them I really like. Some of them look like me, we're very different shade of Black. So he was like, can I ask you a question and don't get offended? I'm like, go for it. I've heard stupid questions my whole life. And then he was like, if somebody offer you $10,000, would you bleach your skin color? And I was like, I laughed,
No way, that's crazy.
At first, I asked him, instead of just saying no, I wouldn't. I was like, okay, so why did you even ask that question? What was the reason behind you asking that question? And of course, he went on and feel like my life would be better as a lighter skinned person. I'll get job opportunity easier. I would be able to get relationship easier. I'll be able to, whatever the case is. He had a list of feeling like if I was lighter, man would find me attractive. Agency would want it, because agency would want to book me. If I went for a job interview, that would most likely be offered a job, whatever the case is. So, and I looked at him and I'm like, honestly, I'm not offended by that question, because once upon a time I considered bleaching my skin without anybody offering me no type of amount at all, because of how unhappy I was with my skin. But the state that I'm at right now, you're gonna pay me a dime. You can't pay me nothing to change my skin color. Nobody. So if life is gonna get hard for me, I'm ready for it. I'm ready to just take on this journey. I'm ready to have a hard life for being dark skinned. And then he wasn't lying, because life is hard, But I was like, I'm ready for it, because I'm not changing my skin for nobody or anything.
Nah, what? Nah, definitely. That's like, that's like taking, like leaving the originality and just going for like the duplicate. Like, and you're confident, by the way.
Yeah, it broke my heart when I saw that Black China went to, I believe, Nigeria to sell these bleaching cream, and they sold out. And like, I was like, this is ridiculous, When I read the article, I was so mad, But
it's crazy. I mean, growing up in Ghana, there's a cream. I forgot what it's called.
mm-hmm.
I think it's called Skin White or something like that. That people literally
weird name, Skin White.
Yeah, like because they want to sell it to you, like look, like bleach white or be white or whatever.
Be white. You gotta be white. If they say skin brown or light skin, they don't want. They just want.
You don't want it. You want to be white, and it's crazy because and it's all that psychological like media portraying like like Little Princess. When they watch like like little TVs and stuff. When they watch TV, they see the blue eyes, and people that are on the runway, they're like, you have to be a certain look, you have to have exactly, with a certain eyes, and without that, so that became like the norm. And you have little kids watching that growing up, so they're seeing that and they're like, oh, like no, I want to be like that,
yes.
And that makes you leave your originality, and it's just crazy, But
when I was younger, I used to wear contact because I feel like, okay, if I can't change my skin, maybe if my eyes were blue or different color, I might be accepted. I try something.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, it's hard when you actually don't really have somebody that can actually like really tell you like, hey, like your skin is the original. This is what we want. This is, like this is what the sun like. I love our skin, like when in the sun, how like it connects, like we're true natures, you know what I mean? Other skin tones, like in the sun, it just stays the same. It doesn't do anything, So it just makes it just says a lot about that. And I really like the confidence that you built over like these years, man. You're very vibrant. Like I just even like the way you even answered that you didn't even feel bothered by the Uber driver's question to you, like, I would have probably like, man, just try to smack him through whatever the window. Like, man, why you asking me this kind of question?
This kind of question.
Yeah, it's like, yo, come on, like, and it's like the same person with the same skin tone. Like, how about why don't you go and go bleach your skin?
Yeah.
Like, how would you feel about that?
Just because you're lighter than me, you feel like your life is easier. You're driving an Uber.
Right. It's like, yeah, almost like you're driving me. I'm in the back seat. You know what I mean? So I'm the boss now. It's crazy, but crazy. I'm just happy that we're actually like there's been a huge shift,
Yeah, it's been a huge shift.
Definitely, and it's just a shift where it's supposed to have been already. Like we are like the true original people,
Mm-hmm.
So you currently have like clothing deals with like major brands and stuff, like Fashion Nova, Fenty. How did it come about, and basically how is that going?
Yeah, so the deal that I've got with these brands that I've worked with, of course, they reach out on social media, on Instagram, like, hey, Queen, we love the message you put out there. Because when you're a model and you get signed to agencies, right? Mm-hmm. Your agencies, you get booked here, this photo shoot, right? You don't have to have a story. You don't have to have, you don't have to have something to say. You just show up, get your makeup done, drink your coffee, do your photo shoot, go by your life. But with me, the brand that I work with, I feel like a brand that feel like they want to hear my story. They want to tell my story. And I feel like, that it started with L'Oreal and then with Fenty Savage and then Fenty, the beauty makeup brand. I feel like when they reach out to me, they're like, Queen, we love your story. We love what you stand for. And we want to bring you on board and, give you a platform to share your story even more. And I feel like I've been so fortunate and grateful to have that opportunity because until this day, like I told you, I'm not signed with any agency, Right. So if I don't have those, brand or those deal, like I'll still be just broke model, that's all I would be. So, but they come through social media and they come through Instagram, of course. And then my manager email is on my page. So, and then I'll just forward the email to him or I go straight to him. And then we started working with them. But it's about 6 month deal, so I did a year with a Fashion Nova back to back, for about a couple of years, and then with Savage, I did like a couple of years. So it's like, it'd be like a 6 month contract or and then they would want to sign again, or maybe they'd be like, oh, we'll come back because the first time I worked with Savage, I worked with them for 6 months and then they was gone for like a year and then they came back again recently. They was like, hey, Queen, we would love, so it just, that's how it worked out. But I'm still trying to get more brand deal, more work, but that's the goal every day. And on the process, don't lose sight of what's important, you know, because there's time where I'm not working as much. And I was like, oh my God, did I pick the right career? I'm like, no, don't lose sight of what's important, because just because you are not booking this campaign in Milan or this footage, you're not booking Paris Fashion Week, you still have a platform where there's so many people that look up to you, and you can't let them down. You can't doubt yourself now. Because there is time that I want to doubt. I'm like, you're not going back to that little girl that doubt yourself because, you know, you're not working as much anymore. So there's something just come out. God have a ways. In the meantime, don't lose sight of where you at and how far you come.
I definitely feel like there's definitely a breakthrough, or like even what you said earlier, and I feel like it's probably maybe meant for you to actually have your own, you know, like agency or something like that. Exactly. You never know. So do you have like any major brand that you would like to work with?
Of course, like, you know, I would love to work with, you know, Gucci. I would love to work with, you know, Louis Vuitton, all these amazing, you know, Chanel, like, you know, all these amazing big brands that I was like, I would love to be in their campaign. I would love to be in the cover of Vogue, you know, Vogue Italian or Vogue, you know, New York or whatever the case is. Like, it's every model dream to be in, to work with so many different brands, you know? I feel like I work with brands that see me and, you know, and want to hear my story. And, you know, and I feel like eventually, you know, the big brand that I want to work with will come about. But in the meantime, like, I'm happy with what I've been able to do and what I'm doing. Of course, I'm going to continue to keep, you know, trying to build my brand, because I'm a brand. Queen of Dub is a brand. So I'm not just going to be a face to somebody else's makeup line. I want to create my own makeup line. I'm not just going to be a body to somebody else's clothing line. I want to model my own clothes, you know? So eventually down the road, the plan is to build a legacy and a whole, you know, business around, you know, fashion, makeup, hair, clothes, you know, agencies, nails, perfume, whatever it is. I feel like eventually that's the goal, you know, because I'm getting older. I'm not getting younger. And, you know, I'm not going to look like, I mean, I'm going to look like this for another 30 years because I'm Black. But,
there you go. There you go. Black don't crack, for sure, man. Say it. Yes, sir.
So, but no, you know, eventually, like, I want to be behind the scene and just do, and, you know, do stuff that helping other people, and of course, leaving a legacy behind for my family, or for, you know,
my
community.
And I, without a doubt, I can see that happening in no time soon. And definitely, you know, Flyshikis TV, we're definitely rooting for you, miles away, and we can't wait to, you know, share like awesome stories that, you know, you got coming up. I really want to thank you so much, you know, for being transparent. I feel like, you know, this story definitely like inspires like a lot of people. You know, that's coming up. It's something that needs to be said, because people don't only talk about the glory, you know, like, you know, this is, you know, I got this, I got that, but don't really get to share like the nitty gritty, the things that you actually go through, because there's a lot of people that's going through a lot of things and they don't have somebody to relate to. So they feel like they're like, why is this only happening to me? But exactly, not knowing that it happens to other people. You know, sometimes people just want to hear that, look, it's okay, I've been through the same thing, and that encouragement only, you know, will help them a lot. So I really want to, you know, like, thank you so much for just being very transparent on this platform. Thank you so much for, you know, stopping by Flyshikis TV. Like I said, you know, Flyshikis TV is an Afro media channel. We're all about unifying Blacks, you know, Africans and people of the diaspora. So, you know, thank you so much. Definitely, you know, for stopping by. My pleasure. Thank you so much. I would love
to connect with my African, you know, anywhere.
Definitely.
Anytime.
Definitely, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.